Good morning and happy Sunday. I'm Eve and welcome back to my channel. Today we'll be discussing the introduction as well as chapter 1 of History of Yoga, All Started on a Stone by Ramis Kachar. And I do want to preface this video by saying that I'm not going to read a bunch of stuff directly from the book or take everything from the book. I want to discuss some of the main ideas of the book, and that's to help protect the author since they did write it, and I believe that if you want to read it, then you should go ahead and purchase it. We'll start out by talking about the introduction, and in the name, it really is introducing the book and what you can expect to get out of it. I do want to read a direct quote from the book, and this is on page 7 of the Kindle version. The goal of this book is to show you the history of yoga with clear, easy-to-follow explanations. We'll go over the origins of yoga and talk about some of the key ancient texts associated. All of this is set up in an easy-to-understand manner for modern audiences. We'll go over all of your burning yoga questions and talk about yoga's development over the last 7,000 years. Yes, it is that ancient, but its history will surprise you and hopefully relieve some of your unanswered questions. Next up is chapter 1, which is titled, What's All the Fuss About? And this chapter goes into what yoga is, what people in the United States might think that yoga is. So I wanted to ask all of you, what do you think yoga is? From my perspective, I believe that it is a moving meditation as well as a toolbox on how to navigate life and all the different circumstances that you run into and how to manage your energy around those circumstances that you find yourself in. Ramis decides to dive into yoga and take it and break it into two separate parts, the physical as well as the spiritual aspect of things, and goes on to explain how those manifest in what we see in practices today with the physical exercise side of things, as well as the mental and spiritual side of things. And the second half of the chapter talks about what people might expect from a yoga class. And I feel like this is a very zoomed out version. So again, keeping to that simple explanation of things, very broad, like that you're going to expect to go through different poses throughout class, and the way that things are sequenced are going to depend on the style that you're going for, as well as the instructor. And they also go into a couple of, I should say more than a couple, a handful of yoga poses that you might expect to see in a class, and some of these tend to be more beginner friendly and some of them go towards more advanced. However, if you're more familiar with yoga, you might know that all of these poses can kind of fall anywhere on that spectrum depending on how you're planning to use it in your classes. And the third half of the chapters, I guess there's more than two halves because it would basically be in thirds, are the benefits of yoga. So the big improved well-being, better physical health, and diving into those different components, as well as improved mental health. With that, that's the end of chapter 1. Next week, we'll be talking about chapter 2, which is titled Older Than You Think, and it will talk about the pre-Vedic era up until 5000 BC. With that, I want to remind you of the questions from this week, which are, what do you think yoga is? What is your experience with yoga? And what benefits do you think you can get from practicing? Let me know what you think in the comments down below, and I'll see you next week. Bye!